What's going on, guys? Crow here from Crow Gaming and from BukkitHow. Today we're going to be covering the basics of how to do permissions. Now we're going to be using permissions X because I don't want to have to make things too complex. I've gotten my two basic plugins that we're going to be running here, which includes Essentials, Essentials Chat, and Spawn as a bundle, and permissions X. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all of our user data here. We don't need all that right now. I wouldn't do that if I were you. You don't need to do it. I'm running .sql, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. We don't need any kind of fancy stuff. And anything that's in our permissions.yml will be used in the actual server. So now that I've got that saved up, I'll show you exactly how everything works. By launching the jar, we're going to be able to connect to localhost. Oh, Minecraft.exe has moved. That scares me. Let me find that real quick. Minecraft. Okay. I cleaned up my desktop before we started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add server. Now I'm assuming that you guys are using localhost. So we're going to call this local. And the IP is localhost. Now you can see it says 0 out of 20. That means that it's actually running and we can connect to it. It's going to generate a world. And we have a world. Now the reason that when I say something, it's going to show up as orange. My name is orange because I've set it up to show as orange with and6. An example would be typing in hello. Oh, and we haven't enabled that. If you have it enabled in Essentials Chat and you have permissions, I need to opt myself. So what we're going to do, since I don't have access to the console, type my name in here, hit save. Now we're going to quickly open up Task Manager. We're going to end Java. Hope to God that we get the right one, otherwise we have to reopen Minecraft. Open up Minecraft.exe and we can open up our Bukkit software. Now if you want, you can skip ahead in the video and you can see how the actual permissions work. That'll be the next thing that I'm covering. I'm just going to show the lowest possible easy way to learn everything ever. So I'm going through every single piece. Now, of course, I'm going to die here. Okay, so now I'm noticing that we are trapped underground, so, okay. So if I type in and6, hi, we're going to get in yellow. Now that yellow is what's covering my name generally. Right now it's what I have it set to for anybody who's op. They're going to show up as red. So I can see that there. We can also do Nick and for Crow. That'll let us change the color there. Example, we could use 3, which will do this kind of a blue color. And basically anything that you put in as an AND, all the way, let's see, we have 0 to 9 and A through F. We also have L, M, K, and R to return to normal. So now I'm going to get into the actual permissions. Let me just end the server so we can record in better quality. So it uses my processor. So here we have our groups. Now each group has been given their own title, and you'll see that they're pretty obvious of where they are. The only thing that's going to be different is right at the bottom here. It's called users. That one's going to start at the first line, as it's a completely different section, as you'll notice with groups. Now, if you look in noob, that is our lowest possible rank. That's what people are going to join as. That's why we set the default to true. Now, the permissions that I've given it are negative. This means that they won't be receiving these permissions. So we don't want anything to do with LWC for our noob rank. So I've given them negative permission for that. we've given the prefix and f noob, which makes the name noob appear in front of their name in white. Now we need to have the and f, because if there's some text in front of it, it won't change it back to white. So we have to make sure that it changes noob to white. Now if we take a look at player, I've actually screwed this up as I always take too long to not look through my files, but what we're doing is we're giving it access to all of our signs. So if you have a warp sign, whatever you have enabled in your essentials is going to be showing up here. Now the prefix works exactly the same as the other. So what we have it showing up as is that blue that I showed you earlier. Then it's going to say player, and then it's going to change anything that they have after that into white. Next one we have up is donator. Once again, it's just another rank, so you could really copy and paste these. It's going to have access to the spawner command. They're going to be able to change them to pigs, cows, and use multiple homes. Once again, we're giving them a dark green, and then we're changing it back to white. That means that their prefix will be green, and then their name will be white. Now the inheritance, that's one important thing to look at. Inheritance means, so say we want to get some permissions from this set over here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to tell donator that it can pull whatever information it wants from player. Now the same thing goes for moderator. I don't like them learning from or taking permissions from donator because it's taking away potential funds which you could have for hosting your server. Now if we look over at admin, it's not really needed, it's more of a prefix thing. I give it access to ban and unban. Just as an example, you can give whatever permissions you want to whatever group you want. Now, I do my own custom prefix, which shows up as owner, and it uses the and L, which makes it a thick kind of look. That's pretty much everything you need to know about permissions, except for with permissions X and with most, I believe all YML, we need to take a look at one quick thing. If you look up YML parser on Google, we're going to find online YML parser.appspot.com. We're going to go there. So if we copy and paste all of our permissions here, and we paste it in here, we're going to get a great output. It's just going to show off every single line of how the code is going to be read. But say we screw some things up by having one extra space, not having enough, or I'll show you an example with a tab. It's gonna just flip shit and it's gonna break your game. Your permissions won't work. So what we have to do is look up line 7 in column 1. So we've got a line 7. Column 1. Columns go up and down. I'll draw you an example in Paint. So here we have a column up and down, and then we have rows which are going to go like this. UMN. There's my amazing handwriting for Paint. So columns are up and down, rows are left and right. So now we go, it's going to tell us that we have something wrong on line 7. You might want to get Notepad++ if you don't already have it. Line 7, column 1, which is our tab. So if we add a whole bunch of spaces to that instead of the tab, when we paste it back in, that one won't show up. So now we need to find line 2, column 3. There's something wrong with this. Why is there something wrong with the word noob? There isn't. But if you look here, since it's trying to map out this whole group, but there's something wrong there. So what we need to do is go to line 12, and we find that there's something screwed up there. We're going to add a space, we're going to copy and paste it. Now it's going to tell us that the noob part that we had is all proper, because the next part isn't broken. It's like a puzzle. So now if we go to line 17, it's going to tell us that something is wrong with our permissions in there. Now what's wrong? Line 19, which is right here, it's saying there's something wrong with the big spawner. Why? Because we have too many spaces, so it's basically saying that this line is actually this line. So if we remove a space, and we format that, we have our perfect permissions. Now things can't really screw up that it's really not hard to do, as long as you remember to just kind of look at it, and if you see there's a little tiny line here, you can't quite see it. It's very difficult to see. I'll zoom in a lot. There should be some dotted lines. If you see that kind of stuff, and say your hyphens are out of the way, you should probably overlook it, or don't overlook it, sorry, look into it a bit more. And you want it to look as pretty as you can possibly make it, and that will make sure that it functions well. I don't think there's many other things to cover except for the whole fact that this is a new group that we're going to be doing some videos on. Now this is going to be for anybody who wants to learn how to do stuff. All that you have to do is tweet at BukkitHow. Currently we have one follower. I don't know if he needed help or anything. I didn't get any kind of response from it, but we're going to be doing tutorials that if you ever have a question, we do a video tutorial on it. We're going to do the best to explain it, and we're going to dumb it down so that anybody can understand it. It's not that you guys don't know what you're doing, it's just we really know what we're doing. But we've been doing this for years now, so now we're actually going to be helping other people out rather than just kind of living off of it. So I hope I help you guys out, and I will catch you on the next episode.